I'm going to post the link.
I put the announcement on the Militia page already, so go pimp it other places.
Doing it now.
All right, guys. We're here to discuss the new FDA workshop call to action that CASAA has issued, and it's really important that everybody that's a vapor, anybody in the industry, they respond. This issue is very much a very targeted and very tailored thing, so we are coming on to kind of talk about it so that everybody can understand what they need to do and exactly what's expected and what we kind of are wanting everybody to kind of deal with. I have Matt Wellman with me, who is with E-Pipe Mods, and he does some work with National Vapers Club, and he's gonna kind of be here because he knows more about hardware stuff than I do, for sure. I got to get him on screen here, so give me a second, and we will kind of get going. I really, I'm not very good at this broadcasting thing, so everybody's going to have to keep that in mind, so that lower your expectations.
Yes, please. Because I suck at it too.
So, just a second. And there's a Matt. There we go.
Am I on screen? I have no idea if I'm on screen.
You are now on screen. There's a delay.
Alright.
So anyway.
Yeah, I'm probably lagging.
A little background, the FDA had a workshop in December, and the whole purpose of this workshop was to discuss hardware and chemical ingredients in the e-juice and variability with people being able to tailor their tailor their vape and do all sorts of things, and they wanted to discuss all the issues with being able to do that. The problem is they did not allow any real vape industry experts into their testimony. They didn't allow them to speak or present, and there was a lot of information that is available that they did not hear. So the call to action is very specific, and CASAA has given us guidance on that. But we had a lot of people asking questions with the original FDA comments. So we wanted to make sure that we did some little videos. We're going to do these little videos and post them up on YouTube, and kind of give people an idea of what they are wanting, and really kind of how they need to do it to make it the most effective.
Right.
So in the actual call to action, it discusses that the actual workshop is from December 10th and 11th. And since this has occurred, since the first workshop, they have actually held a second one. Now, not to confuse everybody, but this alert is focusing on the original workshop. So it doesn't have anything to do with the one that was last week. This is discussing issues with the first one, the December 10th and 11th one. And so they're giving you guidance because after this one closes, there will be a comment period to address the problems with the second workshop, which they haven't even opened a docket yet for, but that will eventually happen also. So right now, all we're dealing with, the speakers that were there speaking and the subjects that they were targeting were product engineering, and that's how the devices work, changes and new innovations since they were, originally created, how to optimize them, how to make them better, then the actual physics of vaping, the chemistry of vaping, and toxicological implications with the chemistry and things like that. So what they're asking for are for vapers, people in the industry, to go and address just those issues. And we need to make sure that we go in there, we don't have a repeat of Steve from the original comments, and I'm sure most of you probably remember Steve put in his comments quite a lot of language that was probably not even acceptable, well, that we know wasn't acceptable, and then, love Steve. So let's make sure we don't do that. This is serious, so we need to respond seriously. We need to hit them with as much fact as we can. Now, Matt, you make e-juice, right? You, in addition to making your mods, you have a line of e-juice, right?
Yeah, we have a lab in our facility where we manufacture e-juice and we do mods. So
now, one of the things that I see sometimes, and this is where we're going to get to the purpose of maintaining fact. I see in several places people talking about nicotine and where it's sourced and what it comes from. We know for a fact that all nicotine used in e-liquid is derived from tobacco. That is a fact. There is no verifiable. There are companies that claim other things, but so when we discuss sending them, because they're talking about chemistry and things like that, we need to make sure that everything that we put in there is the truth. So going in there and making comments that your e-juice comes from tomatoes or other things is not going to be helpful, because it's absolutely not true. Whether your source tells you that or not, it is not true. So that's one thing that we need to go ahead and put on the table and get it out there. Everything needs to be factual and verifiable. So there's some instructions in here and talks about ECF and things like that. The FDA is not going to they're not going to look at anything that is not verifiable and from a scientific standpoint. So links to threads on ECF are not going to be accepted. Now, if there's anything that is discussed in that ECF thread that you can point back to a scientific journal where they're quoting it from or things like that, you actually need to go and get that PDF file of that study that they're referring to or something like that. They're not going to look at newspaper articles and things like that. Those are not verifiable science. So we need to make sure that we keep it serious. We do the due diligence and we find the actual science.
Yeah, and not just the briefing on the research paper, but the entire paper itself. Yeah. And Militia has links to several papers in full that you can attach that link to that paper in full, or PDF rather, to that paper in full to your comment to the FDA, and NVC has that as well. And not just the science, they need verifiable evidence that not only is there scientific evidence that we are doing the right thing, and vaping is 99%, whatever scientists are saying now, safer than traditional cigarettes, but that verifiable evidence that we are a self-regulating industry, and there are already things that we do to try and make vaping safer for the consumer, such as safety protocols and devices, and even the milligram per milliliter structure that we have in place for e-liquids. You know, the FDA doesn't understand that outside of cartridges, you know, the e-liquid that we sell is structured basically the same as a patch.
Yes.
And if you can send links to several different websites or screenshots of several different websites that show that we do, you know, 0 milligram nicotine, 3 milligram nicotine, 6 milligram nicotine, all the way up to 24 or 36 or whatever, on several different websites, it kind of proves that the industry is already self-regulating, and that, you know, the consumer purchases are limited to the milligram per milliliter that the FDA already approves in patches and gum.
Yeah.
And then as far as safety, you know, links to the different electronic devices, like the DNA, sending links to how the DNA works, sending links to how, you know, the SX Mini works, or all these different devices, and showing them that there are safety protocols that are embedded in this technology to help keep accidents from occurring. That's incredibly helpful as well. So not just scientific research studies, but also evidence that we are a self-regulating industry, and we are taking steps to ensure the safety of our own customers.
And, you know, it may not have to be a study, but, you know, there are quite a lot of threads on ECF where, you know, people are just dropping F-bombs and they're giving opinion as fact. If there's a serious discussion on there, and people are actually talking technical aspect of the device, and, you know, that kind of thing, if you can create a PDF file, and as long as it's a discussion of, you know, how the machine works or how the juice is made, those kind of things are fine. This is not all going to be peer-reviewed stuff, but it has to be more on the nature of a serious discussion. So yes, I mean,
right.
Some of those threads on ECF may be fair game, but we have to be very selective and make sure that it is on the topic of the hardware and the chemistry. And the thing is
I mean,
the important thing to be aware of, though.
Go ahead.
The important thing to be aware of is that they have to read everything that you submit. So if there's a lengthy, you know, 300-page discussion on ECF, discussing, you know, the actual electronics of the DNA chip, or the SX Mini chip, or the, you know, all that is great. That is showing that there is an educated discussion going on, because they really didn't allow any of the people that we would consider to be experts in vaping actually do any speaking or testifying at all. And the thing is, you know, Dr. Farsalinos or Brandon from Evolve, or any of those guys that actually build, you know, one of the engineers from ProVape, any of those guys could have gone on there and discussed the actual way the electronics work and why this works and is better than, you know, this, and so forth and so on. So that, you know, that needs to be on there. And as far as I'm concerned, we need to bury them with as much stuff that is relevant as possible. So
yeah, I mean, I was a major part in developing the Vape Safe, which is a safety fuse that cuts off the battery power at 0.8 ohms and prevents batteries from venting. And, you know, I plan on sending, a tremendous amount of specs and evidence and reasons why we did what we did with the Vape Safe, because it really is more than just an e-liquid argument. It really comes down to hardware and the safety of hardware. The FDA is concerned and is looking closely at hardware. Mm-hmm. So that kind of response, don't think that this is just, it all needs to be backed by scientific study. We do need a lot of that, but we do need a lot of evidence that supports safe hardware and safe hardware use. Right. So if any of you guys need information on safe hardware use and stuff like that, feel free to email me. I'll give you my personal email. It's wellman.matt@gmail.com. I'll post it up in here in the chat, and I've got a compiled list of stuff on the DNA, the SX Mini, any PDFs and stuff that you can send along with your FDA comment. And again, this has to be very, very structured, well written. This is not a response like the first round of comments that we had to the FDA. We had a bunch of people writing a couple sentences saying, I'm a vapor, it saved my life, and that was basically it. And that's not going to cut it for this. It needs to be very, very specifically written and targeted to what they're asking. Otherwise, they're going to ignore it. And we can't do form letters on this. They're literally ignoring form letters anymore. So it has to be a personal written letter with as many attachments as you can do, because they have to read everything we send them.
They do. The important thing is that you follow those guidelines, because this is a very targeted, a very specific call to action. We don't want, really and truly, you can submit a comment that is not correct, and they're going to read it and throw it away. But what we want to do is give them as much stuff to prove, A, that they need to give us a space at the table for these workshops. We need to be allowed to be there and to give the truth and the science and all of that all bundled up, because the people that are speaking really don't have the truth, and they don't have the facts, and they're using science and studies that have been debunked, and it's just they really don't know enough about the industry. And I myself kind of want to look at it as maybe the FDA aren't the big bad monsters. They're doing what they have to do. The problem is they're and concerned maybe are going to act quick. Anybody have any questions in the room?
I just answered one. I'm glitchy right now, so I apologize for that.
Well, that's okay, because one of my monitors just went to sleep, and I don't know how to wake it up.
I hate it when that happens.
So this was something that we had been discussing for the last 2 days that we were going to do. We were going to come on and kind of give some guidance and answer questions, and we're going to do this a couple times between now and April 15th to give everybody time, because you don't have to respond to this right now.
Yeah, please. I mean, honestly,
put some thought into your comment. And the thing is, I mean, just to the basics, the last time they did this FDA commenting stuff, there were a lot of people that sat at the computer and typed long letters on the FDA website, and they hit the wrong button, or they went to a different tab, and when they came back, everything that they had typed was gone. So I mean, the first instruction is to also attach everything as attachments. So you have the ability to attach your comment as a separate Word file in addition to cutting and pasting it into the comment field, and then adding any attachments that you've gathered, any information that you're collecting. So Kath says I'm cutting in and out. Is everybody hearing me?
Yeah, I'm getting some lag, some pretty serious lag myself.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if my end or your end.
Well, apparently it's I have
a ton of shit happens. Oh, I don't want to lose that though. Fuck.
There's a lot of important stuff on this computer.
I know. I always got a ton of important windows open. All right, close that one. Cannot close that one. Okay. I have closed down as much as I can. Moment. Let's see what kind of. National Club. We're building basically a bulletin of topics to discuss the FDA. Still choppy. Okay. I'm going to type this then.
Yeah.
So that you guys can.
Give me a minute. I'm going to bring the broadcast down real quick, and I will be back in a few minutes.
Okay, no problem.
Just stay in there and keep typing while I'm gone.
Okay, no problem.